And they do smell like tomatoes already. Here are my tomatoes currently under the grow light, and if you recall, I overseeded these. I'm only gonna keep the ones that I can actually put in my garden, and the weak ones I'm gonna just sort them out. Let's transplant these puppies now that they do have a set of true leaves. I probably will not able to transplant all of these today because I am using my homemade compost and I only have enough for 3 trays. Each kind of tomato is gonna be in 1 tray, so 9 plants per type. So I'm gonna take a look as to which ones are the big ones. So looks like these are the biggest, and these are the purple Cherokee. So let's do those first. Those look really nice. Ready to go. Now for tomatoes, you want to plant them real deep as possible, just barely enough for the leaves to stick out the ground. So that's how I'm gonna proceed with these. I'm just gonna take the 9 biggest one and plant those today, and then we'll see what I'm gonna do with the leftovers, because I need to purchase some compost and nobody likes to do that. So I'm gonna kind of separate these. Like this little one, I know that that's gonna be trash. So let's see what else we got overall. I have about 20 plants here. In reality, in my home garden, I'm gonna have 1 bed for tomatoes, and I can put in by a 4x8 bed, which is 32 square foot. I can put in about 20 plants. Definitely not gonna have more than 9 of each kind, right? Because I have 6 kinds. The plan is also that I will be sharing some of these put some in the farmhouse garden and also take some out to the cabin garden. None of these actually have any true leaves. So let's see. Which is still okay, you can transplant without having any true leaves. Okay, so I just took the 9 biggest ones, and now these leftovers, I'm gonna keep them because if any of these fails, I will have some to back up, and also I can give it away to other people. So I'm gonna pull out a separate cup for just those. And I'm gonna reuse the seed starter mix. And I'm still gonna have to feed these guys too because I do want them to grow. But at this point they just surviving. And they will be a stand-in as needed. So I'm actually gonna use this little marker to know which kinds are these, and each of these I'm gonna just write their name on the pot. And I'm just gonna abbreviate CP for Cherokee Purple. Any previous labels I cross over, so I'm not gonna get confused. I had these Dollar Tree pots for about 5 years now, I believe, and they're still good, so they're pretty lasting, and you can buy 10 for $1. Well, it's probably gonna be $1.25 right now, but it's still the cheapest way to go, unless you want to use like plastic cups, but these will need more compost because they're tall. However, it's useful to have tomatoes planted here if you're gonna have tomatoes indoors for a long time, because they're gonna be able to expand their roots better, and you can get bigger plants into this. Now we're in the middle of April now, and where I live, these tomatoes will be able to go out as soon as a couple of weeks, but usually I wait until mid-May, so they have 4 more weeks to grow indoors. The next pick is going to be the Roma tomatoes. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna take these, all of these, to either to my cabin or to the farmhouse, because they're gonna be for canning, not for eating really. So some of these are a little yellow. I need to start feeding them. The same process. I'm just gonna figure out which one's gonna go into these transplants and have some backup as well. And as I get more compost, I may actually transplant some more. But for today, I just really wanted to transplant tomatoes. And they do smell like tomatoes already. And I feel like I'm behind, because usually by this time I do have bigger tomato plants. I think I just started late even with the seeds, but that's okay. As a matter of fact, you can always directly plant tomatoes into your garden depending on how long is your summer, and they seem to catch up, interestingly. But then what kind of fun would that be? You need to be in dirt with your bare hands to make you happy if you're a real gardener, which I like to think I am. For these tomatoes, I'm gonna start feeding them fairly soon. As a matter of fact, before I put them onto the shelves. Although this compost is pretty wet, I'm still gonna be watering these, water them in a little bit. You should always do that when you transplant. It's a different thing when you're just putting seeds on the top of the compost and it's already wet, you don't have to water it again. But for these guys, I water them in so we can eliminate any big air pockets. Here we go, one more. And again, we're gonna have some overflows. Not as many of this kind. I only have 5 plants. So again, saving the seed starting mix. Oh, here's one. Oh, here's another one. Never mind. I have like 7. Okay. These will go in here. Extra. I'll label these and we go to the next one. The next I'm gonna transplant is the cherry tomatoes. Those are usually the ones that come out the earliest anyway, but they're looking pretty nice. So these are my homegrown compost, and occasionally I do see some weed seeds germinating and I just pull those out. And what I did, I sifted it just enough so the big pieces of material is not in here, so it's not that fine, but fine enough so the transplant's gonna do real well. And instead of going to buy more compost, I'm gonna try to go out to my compost pile and then see if I have any more. I need to turn the ones in progress anyway, and as I turn it from one bin to another, I always find just enough compost in the very bottom that will do for me. So right now it's raining, and I do have my compost covered, the one that's brewing right now. And tomorrow, if it's nice enough, I'll go outside and turn my compost from one bin to another, and on the bottom I'm gonna be able to salvage enough for my transplants. I really don't like to buy in compost. I did have to buy compost for my new raised bed because there's just not enough space or material for me to make enough compost to actually fill a whole bed. The compost is only enough for me to spread a little bit over existing beds just to freshen them up, because in my raised beds the nutrients are not as good after a growing year, and also the level of the dirt goes down over the time, so I have to keep filling the top with nice fresh compost. Okay, I have a lot of leftovers, and I don't know if actually I'm gonna need all this. I feel like this is gonna be one of those that I'm gonna give away to strangers in my garden club. They will appreciate that. Again, I just need more compost because I probably would like to transplant these before I give them away, instead of one person gets the whole thing. Some people just don't have the space, or they just don't feel like raising their own seedlings. So I get it. And I would hate people to have to actually put out good money just to buy something like this, a little bigger, for $4 or $5. It's kind of silly. And there are some people who do not need a 6-pack of seedlings from the store either. Maybe they just want to plant 1 or 2 tomatoes. So those are the type of people I like to give it away to, because I would like to make sure that these babies are growing somewhere, right? They can be adopted. Okay, so these are my cherry tomatoes. Again, I'm gonna label them and go to the next step. So I'm gonna put these back under the grow light for now, and in a couple of days these get also transplanted. So I'm halfway there. As I'm watering these new transplants, I'm gonna use some fertilizer, water soluble. Just took a gallon of empty jar and put 1 tablespoon of fertilizer in this water. I'm gonna gently water these guys just a little bit, because again, this compost is wet. I want them to settle down. The dirt is settling into the roots. And after this, I'm going to be watering them from the bottom next week. But for today, I'm doing this from the top. Again, washing in the dirt. Just like if you were planting anything in the dirt, you water them to settle in. Now I'm gonna take these to natural sunlight. That's next. I do want to put the tomatoes on the top shelf only because I want to make sure that the cat doesn't get to it, for sure. And these guys up here, the rutabaga and the beetroots, can go outside pretty soon, so I will be putting them out during the day and bring them in at night. And I'm gonna move one of the pepper trees down in the bottom to make space for that last tree. And this is just for the cat, so she doesn't get in. So you might be wondering, what am I gonna do with all these when I transplant these? Because now I am out of space on that shelf. Stay tuned for that. I have a couple of solutions because I do want them to get natural sunlight. See you next time.